right, everybody. We are at the final game of the three-game series against the San Diego Padres. Rockies and Padres have split the series so far. Colorado winning game one. San Diego winning game one. Colorado winning last night's game to even things out. There was a roster move for the Rockies here on April the 13th, 2025. Chris Bryant goes on the disabled list, and they call up, I guess it's Adale Amador. I'm making a strict guess on the pronunciation there. He's a second baseman in this game, and he is called up. We have Kyle Freeland against Michael King. That is your pitching matchup. We're at Petco Park, where singles are not very plentiful with a 1, and home runs are a 10. This game was played April 13th, Sunday, April 13th, 2025, my 60th birthday. And let's see here. King is a -5 on his hold. Freeland's a -3. San Diego is 10-5 on the replay via Action PC. Colorado via our Strat is 5-9. After this game, the Padres will go up north, Interstate 5, and head to LA, where they'll be taking on the Dodgers for 3 games starting tomorrow night. And we are just about ready to get things going here. Ezequiel Tovar. Hello, Ben. Good to see you. Ezequiel Tovar is the batter. I was trying to hold off as long as I could. I know RJL is still going, but I couldn't wait any longer. I'll be up all night. So people want to watch that, that's fine. Most people that watch this watch it on the replay anyway. So with that being said, here we go. Here's Ezequiel Tovar. It's a 5-5, and that's a base on balls from King. Tovar could get the lead, but that -5 is going to probably keep him in check. They will, keep him where he's being held, but he's not going to try to get a lead or anything. Here comes Nick Martini. Very good. Thank you, Ben. Appreciate that. 6'11", lefty. And that's a ground ball, second base. 4-6-3, double play. And Ben, I hope you understood the humor last night when I was working my inner Barry Horowitz, patting myself on the back for my managing. That was all tongue-in-cheek, kind of doing a ID gesture kind of thing there. So 2 down. That was at Giovanni's Tailor Shop. Tailor-made double play, by the way, 4-6-3. Giovanni's Tailor Shop in Lemoyne, Pennsylvania. If you have tailoring needs and you're in the area, be sure to stop by and see them. Tell them Demo sent you, and they will give you a discount. They are the unofficial sponsor of the channel, but the official sponsor of the Giovanni's Tailor Shop. Tailor-made double play of the game, and, of course, a 6'11" produced a second base A, which took care of that pretty easily. Here's the designated hitter, Kyle Farmer. That is going to be a 1-9 for Farmer, and he grounds to third, and that's handled by Machado very easily. So after the leadoff walk, King shuts the door. We go to the bottom of the first. Colorado nothing. San Diego coming to bat. Hello, Dr. D. All right, here is Fernando Tatis. Well, first of all, here's Kyle Freeland. Freeland, 5-17 on the real season in 31 starts, 4.98 ERA. He's going to be facing Fernando Tatis. That's a 4.8. 4.8 against a right-hander is a solid single. Now, Freeland's a -3 hold as well, so Tatis will not go anywhere. Here's Luis Arias. He played first base the first 2 games of the series. He is a DH in this one. And nameless player Lourdes Gurriel will be at first base for the Padres. But I have a nameless player card for him because he has only like 30 at-bats. Here's Arias. That's a 6'10" lefty-lefty. It's a fly ball to right field. And that's handled out there by Martini. 1 away, and that's going to bring up Manny Machado. That's a 2-6 for Machado, and that's a base on balls. And that'll be the first walk, obviously, for Freeland. First and second with 1 out. And Xander Bogaerts, shortstop. That's a 4-8. And it's another single, 2 stars. That'll score the run. And just like they did in every other game in the series, Padres jump out in front. Runners are at the corners. Bogart's going to look to get a lead because he can get a 19 here. So he's going to try for the lead. Needs a 4 or a 6. Doesn't get it, so it doesn't matter. Brings up Oscar Gonzalez. He did not play in either of the first 2 games, but he is starting in this one against the lefty Freeland. So Oscar Gonzalez, a left fielder. Rockies playing back for the double play, trying to turn 2. It's a 6-10. That's a ballpark single check, but again, it's only a 1. So that will end up being a fly ball to left C, which is too shallow to score the run. 2 down, and now we're looking at Gurriel. And I'm using the nameless player card that relates to a 210 average. It's the lowest average they have of the nameless player cards. So he is there. Runners at the corners, 2 outs. It's not a clutch situation because these cards aren't designed for clutch. That's a 1-5. He grounds at the third, and that'll end the inning. So Freeland gets out of it with just the 1 run. So got to feel pretty good about that. We go to the top of the second. It is 1-0 Padres. Michael King back out, and he will be facing McMahon, followed by Tolia and Moniak. Start the top of the second. So Ryan McMahon, third baseman, leads it off. 4-9. That's a solid single. First hit of the game for the Rockies. McMahon not going to go anywhere. And that'll bring up, hello, Chuck and Tribe fan. Good to see you. That'll bring up Michael Tolia. Tolia, first baseman. So 5-10, left switcher batting left. Catcher X. That is Diaz. He's a 3. 3 and a 12. Let's see if that's any kind of a potential pass ball or something. 3 and a 12 is a potential pass ball. We'll check the wild pitch of King to see if that's the case. His error rating is an E9, so 313 or 18. And that's not going to be an error. So we're checking the wild pitch rating of King. It's a 5. 1 to 5, we got a wild pitch. 6 to 20, it's just going to be a foul out. And that's a foul out. And Tolia is out of there. One away for Mickey Moniak, the Maniac. Center fielder, 1-8. And he hits a ground ball second base. Hey, that'll be another Giovanni's Tailor Shop tailor-made double play. 2 in a row, 2 innings in a row. 4-6-3 has come up. And the Rockies get their chances wiped out. Hello, Barbara. Good to see everybody. Let's see. Kyle Freeland is your pitcher. Again, he gave up the 1 run in the first inning, but probably was lucky to only get away with 1 run. Here's Jose Iglesias, second baseman. It's a 1-11, and that's a ground ball first base C. So, Tribe fan, just for you, a 3-1 putout. Here's Brandon Lockridge. 2-2 for Lockridge, and that's a ground ball second base C, 2 down. 2 up, 2 down, but Freeland has a really tough time getting a 1-2-3 inning. He's facing Elias Diaz, and he's got a pretty good column 1. But he found the 5-12, which instead is a ground ball third base X. So McMahon ought to get to this. If he's a 1, we know he's going to get to it. We're just checking the error. And he's an E10, so the only errors are 13, 17, and 18. And that's a 12, so he barely got by with it. But it's a 1-2-3 inning for Freeland. That's a breath of fresh air for the Rockies manager. We go to the third. Still 1-0. Due up for the Rockies is Hunter Goodman, the catcher. That is a 6-3 fly ball right field X. We're looking at the right fielder Tatis. He's a 1. We know he's going to get to it. E3 is the only check. And on an E3, the only errors are 3, 15, and 18. And 13 is going to be just fine. So Goodman is out, and now that brings up Zach Veen, the left fielder. Another nameless player card. Whoa, that got held up there. Let's redo that. There we go, 3-10. And that's going to be a ground ball to second, 2 down. So Veen is retired. And here's the guy that got called up when Chris Bryant went on the disabled list. And I guess it's pronounced Adale Amador. That's how I'm going to call it. I didn't have time to look and check its pronunciation. But I'm just going by what I'm seeing here, and that's what I'm calling him. If somebody knows a different pronunciation, you can let me know. He's a switch hitting second baseman, and he had 113 at-bats in the season with a 177 average. So obviously not very good, but that's who they brought up. That's a 6-5 switch hitter batting left. That's a ground ball shortstop X. Bogarts, 3E10, 3-9. He'll get to that. 3-9 is going to be good enough for a G3, which is all they need. And he is an E10 at shortstop. So he's got to avoid 16, 17, and 18. Pretty simple. And 5, it's a rare play, but it's a not so rare play. So we're just going to call it a 6-3 ground out to end the inning. So thanks to 2 double plays, King has faced the minimum through 3. Go to the bottom of the third. Still 1-0 Rockies. Ben, since you're on PTO, if you care to join me tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock, we will have the Baltimore Orioles and the Minnesota Twins, 1987, American League replay from the Metrodome. That'll be the game scheduled for tomorrow. All right, here is Fernando Tatis. 5-3, and that's a ground ball first base X. Tolia, he is a 3E6. 3 and a 4, that might get by. Let's see. 3 and a 4 is going to be a single. It is going to be a single. Let's make sure there's no error. E6 and 11. I don't think there's an error on that. Nope, no error there, but it will get through for a base hit. Tatis is 2 for 2. Yep, coffee time, no doubt about it. Ceremonial first sip has become a stalwart with the channel in the morning games. Got to have that coffee and Strat, perfect combinations. Here is Arias. Lefty-lefty matchup, 1-9. Ground ball second base C. That will get the runner Tatis to second base with 1 out for Manny Machado. It's understandable, Ben. I used to do the same thing when I was working. I would have a game on and just listen to it. Whether it was a stream or recording, didn't matter. Here's Manny Machado. That's a 3-2 against the lefty. That's a Lomax to third base. So that's going to be a line drive to McMahon, who flips over to Amador. So it's going to be a 5 and a 5-4 double play on the dreaded Lomax. Oh, wait a minute. It's 3-2, not 2-2. Dummy. Let me fix that. I misread it. It's a fly ball to right field A. And with an A, that means that the runner actually goes to third. So I just make sure I catch that right. 3-2 against the lefty is actually a fly to right A. I was looking at 2-2. So before anybody yells at me that I got it wrong, I fixed it. So fly ball to right. Tatis does take third base. Tatis does take third base with 2 outs for Xander Bogaerts, a clutch situation for Bogaerts. And he will lose a couple of hits, 2-3 and 2-5 and 2-9 and 3-7. So he loses 4 hits in the clutch. That's a 1-11, and that's a hit by pitch. So he gets plunked, does Bogaerts, and he's going to try for a lead. See if he can get a lead. He needs a 4 or a 6. Doesn't get the lead, he will hold. And now it's up to Oscar Gonzalez in the clutch. Gonzalez is going to gain 1 hit on 3-3. That's it. 3-7 is going to be a fly to center, and that will end the inning. So that will do it. We go to the top of the fourth. Both starting, well, actually, King has a fatigue of 5. Freeland has a fatigue of 6. So we'll keep an eye on King because next inning will be his fatigue inning. Right now, he has faced the minimum, so he's in good shape. Here is Ezekiel Tovar. Oh, going to re-roll that. There we go. 2-7 for Tovar, and that is a pop up to short. 1 away. And maybe this later start is messing with the Rockies' timing. I don't know. Here's Martini, 1-6, and he grounds at the second. Could just be the King is large and in charge and on top of all his pitches. Here's Kyle Farmer, 5-7, and that's a pop out to short. Easy 1-2-3 inning. We go to the bottom of the fourth. Still 1-0. And it'll bring up Lourdes Gurriel. He is the nameless player. That's a 5-11, and that's a ballpark blast for Gurriel. But I don't believe, I think if I looked it up, he did not hit any home runs. So I'm going to assume that means he has no power and would have weak. Well, actually, the card shows he has weak power. So I'm going to take that to be the case as well. But I'm going to double check his numbers just to make sure he didn't hit any home runs. He did not. So he has weak power. So if it is successful, it will only be a single. But it has to be a 1-10. Cannot be a home run. And it's an 11, so he's out anyway. Fly ball to left. So 1 away for Jose Iglesias. That's a 5-10, and that's a walk. That is the second walk issued by Freeland. Now Iglesias will look to get the lead, but he needs a 5. Got a 2, can't do it. That'll bring up Lockridge, center fielder. Brandon Lockridge. That is a 1-7 against the lefty. That's a fly to center, 2 down. And it's up to catcher Elias Diaz. That's a 2, balk or pass ball. It's a balk chance on Freeland, but he's got 0 balks, so no worries there. 5-4, and that's a catcher X. So we're looking at Goodman. He's a 4 with an E10. 4 and a 17 is not going to be an issue. 4 and a 17 is probably a ground out of some sort. 4 and a 17 is actually a pop out. 18 would have been a ground out, but this is going to be a pop out unless he makes an error. He is an E10, so he does have to avoid 12 and 18. Those are the 2 numbers to avoid. And he does. So pop out there ends the inning. And what about this? We got a pitching duel going with the Rockies. Go figure. 1-0 into the 5th. This is the fatigue inning for King. But like I said, he has faced the minimum. He is limited to Rockies to just 1 hit. And that 1 hit was up by this guy right here, Ryan McMahon. 6-4, and it's ground ball shortstop X. That's Bogarts. He's a 3 E10. 3 and a 14 is good. E10 he has to avoid at the shortstop. E10 he's got to avoid 16, 17, and 18. And that is a 16. He did not avoid it. That's going to be an error on Bogarts. Look at it again. E10 shortstop, and a 17 is right there. Or 16 rather, is right there under 1 base error. So it's an E6. Man will reach on the error by Bogarts. McMahon, no threat to run. Here's Michael Tolia. Well, they're getting some good rolls, Ben. That's for sure. Here's Tolia. 2-2, and that's going to be a ground ball second base A. We have a third in 5 innings. We've got our third Giovanni's Tailor Shop tailor-made double play of the game. Every time the Rockies get somebody on, they hit into a double play. Third double play of the game in just 5 innings. If King gets Moniak, again, he will face the minimum. 2-8, and he does pop out to first. So he will keep full endurance into the 6th because they can't count the error against him. So King will at least go 6 innings. And we go to the bottom of the 5th. It's going to be the top of the order, Tatis. That's a good stat to know there, Ben. Hello, Thomas. Good to see you. I know they strike out a lot. I wasn't aware of the double plays. I just know when I was looking at the team in advance of this replay that they strike out quite a bit. But I think that might be just a 2025 thing for everybody. It just seemed like they struck out an awful lot. All right, here's Tatis. 1-7 against the lefty. Pop out to short. One away for Luis Arias, designated hitter. He's 0-2. And that's a 1-8. That 2 kind of got caught in the corner there. It is a 1-8. That's ground ball to short, 2 down. For Manny Machado. Well, I was right about the strikeouts then. Manny Machado. 6-8 against Freeland. That's his trouble number. 1-2 is a double. 3-20 is a single. That'll be a base hit for Machado. And Machado will look to get a lead. He needs a 4 or a 5. Doesn't get it. He'll hold. And here's Xander Bogaerts. 3-10 against the lefty. It's a ballpark single check, but we all know what happens at Petco Park. It's a 1. So obviously that's going to be a line out to short to end the inning. So we go to the 6th. It's still 1-0. Favor of the Padres. King has full endurance into the 6th inning. I'm going to cap him at 7 innings regardless. Both pitchers, 7 will be their cap. All right, here's Hunter Goodman. 1-7, and that is a ground ball to short. 1 away, so King still throwing that 1 hitter. Here's Veen, actually. I've got to bring the nameless player card out. So Veen. Zach Veen, 6'3", he's a lefty. That's a fly ball right field X. We're looking at Tatis. He's a 1, so we know he's going to get to it. E3 is the only thing in question, and the E3 is 315 and 18. Got to avoid those numbers, and he does. So good play by Tatis. 2 down for Amador, and that's a 6-7. Switch hitter batting left. That's a ground ball second base X. We're looking at Iglesias, 2E5. 216 is good. E5 at second base. The only errors are 16 and 18. And no problem there. That'll take care of that. So Michael King rolling with a 1 hitter through 6 innings. But he's only got a 1-0 lead. Kyle Freeland, this is the fatigue inning for Freeland. Keep an eye on him. Oscar Gonzalez will lead it off, followed by Gurriel. 3-7, and that is a fly to center. 1 away. And that will bring up the nameless player, Lourdes Gurriel. And that's a 5-5, and that's a ground ball to short. 2 down. 2 down for Iglesias. It's a 1-7 lefty, and that's a strikeout for Freeland. That's actually Freeland's first strikeout of the game. Took him 6 innings to get there, but he can't catch a break. He pitches a game like this, and his team gets him 1 hit, no runs. So we go to the 7th. It's still 1-0. This is the kind of game I like when it's late at night, and I want to get the game over with in a hurry and not be up till midnight. This is right down my alley. I like pitching duels anyway. And if I like pitching duels, when you play the Rockies, you take them when you can get them. Here's Ezequiel Tovar, top of the order. Pinch hitting is now allowed because we're in the 7th inning. Whoa, that didn't go through. Let's try that again. Tovar. That's a 2-10 against the lefty, and he's going to walk. And every time they've gotten a base runner on, they followed it up with a double play ball. So we'll see what happens this time. Tovar, he's going to be held, but he won't try anything. Here's Martini. 3-10 for Martini. That's a pop out to short. One away for Kyle Farmer, designated hitter. Was it this game here that he had a complete game shutout? I didn't look at the score. I just looked at who the lineups were. I didn't look at the score. Let's see here. Yep, 6-0. He sure did. A 2-hit shutout. 6-0. 2-hit shutout. He certainly did. Well, maybe I won't cap him at 7. Maybe we'll let him keep going. Give him the opportunity to hit that shutout. All right, here is, let's see. All right, here's Farmer, designated hitter. That's a 6-9, and that's a 1-6 double. 7-20, he flies to center, and that's a fly out to center, 2 down. At least they did not hit into a double play. That's a one bright spot. Here's Ryan McMahon. That's a 2, balk or pass ball. Looking at the pass ball rating of Diaz. And Diaz's pass ball rating is a 0. So it cannot be a pass ball. So we drive on. It is a 4-4. I'm sorry, a 4-6. 4-6 left-handed is a strikeout. And that's going to do it for the 7th inning. King, and that's King's first strikeout. So you'd think in 2025 there's a lot of strikeouts. The Rockies strike out a lot, lead the league in strikeouts, and he gets his first strikeout in the 7th inning. Very un-2025 like game. So at the 7th inning stretch, 1-0. And Freeland back out. He'll be facing Lockridge, Diaz, and then Tatis. 1-0, bottom of the 7th. It's a 1-11, and that's going to be a ground ball right back to Freeland. 1 away for Elias Diaz, the catcher. And that's going to be a 1-8 against the lefty, and that's a strikeout. Strikeout number 2. Back to the top of the order, and Tatis. 2-9 for Tatis. He strikes out. Strikeout number 3. So who'd have thunk this? This wasn't on my bingo card. That's for sure. 1-0 as we go to the 8th. And I'm going to let King go all the way. If he can do it, he can do it. I mean, unless he gives up some stuff which causes him to reach fatigue, then I have to think about it. But since I know he pitched a complete game in this real world, I'm going to do it. Here's Michael Tolia. That's a 4-7, and that's a base on balls. That is the 3rd walk issued by King. And that'll send up Mickey Moniak, the Maniac. That's a 5-11, and that's a ballpark blast. This could be a 2-1 Rockies lead, and the bullpen for the Padres could get up pretty quick. 5-11 is a ballpark blast, 1-10, and he's got it. Moniak, Mickey Moniak, the Maniac, strikes again. The Maniac with another home run. Rockies lead it 2-1, and that's going to immediately get Adrian Morejon up in the bullpen for the Padres, as it is now a 2-1 Rockies lead out of nowhere. Here is Hunter Goodman. That's a 1-7, and he's going to ground to short. 1 away for Zach Veen, left fielder. And that's a 6-8. Struck him out. Strikeout number 2. This will be the final inning for King for sure. And Amador. That is a 1-5 against the righty. Struck him out. So he finishes in style with some strikeouts, but made one mistake pitch, gave up a 2-run home run to Mickey Moniak, the Maniac. And that'll do it for King. He's going to go 8 innings, give up the 2 runs. He only gave up 2 hits, a single by McMahon and this home run. That's it. He walked 3, and he struck out 3. So now here's Freeland. He has full endurance. His endurance inning was a 6, but he's retired 7 in a row, so he's going to stay in there. But the bullpen is standing by for the Rockies. They do have activity in their bullpen, and they have right-hander Jimmy Herget loosening in the pen. He pitched in Game 1, but not Game 2, so he has rest. And Freeland will be facing Arias, Machado, and Bogarts. That's a 5-10 lefty-lefty. Ballpark single check, but once again, it's got to be a 1. And it is not, so it's a fly to center, 1 away. Here's Manny Machado. That's a 2-10 for Machado, and that's a foul out to the catcher Goodman, 2 down. Rockies looking to take 2 of 3 from the Padres to start this 6-game road trip before they go face the Dodgers. Here's Bogarts, 4-5, and that's a fly to center. That's going to do it. 2-1 ball game as we go to the 9th. We will have a new pitcher both for the Rockies and for the Padres. So coming up for the Padres, they will send Adrian Morejon. He was 13-6 with a 2.08 ERA and 3 saves. 19 decisions as a strict relief pitcher, 19 decisions. So he was vulturing some wins. So he's going to look to vulture some wins here. He's going to look to vulture these wins. He's going to be facing the top of the order. Morejon's a +4 hold, so that makes him a +3. That could come into play if Tovar or somebody fast reaches. So top of the 9th, 2-1 Rockies. Tovar the batter. 6-2 right-handed is a walk. Oops, lost the peripheries there, didn't we? 6-2 is a walk right there. 6-2 is a walk. And Tovar's walked 3 times. And now he's going to look to get the lead because of that +3 hold. He needs a 3 through 6 to get the lead. And he gets the lead. He's going to go 15, being held as a 13, but the +3 is a 16. 1 to 16, and he will steal it. And he does. It's a possible throwing error on the catcher Diaz. His T rating is a 12. So a 1 to 12, we got a throwaway error here. And we do. So it's a stolen base plus an error. So Tovar putting the pressure on the Padres forces an errant throw. And now all of a sudden, that's an error on the Padres now. They've each committed an error. And they're going to have to bring the infield in because they got a runner at third and nobody out. And Nick Martini, the batter. So Martini is up with the infield in. 4-5, and that's a ground ball second base A. That will freeze the runner, Tovar. 1 down for Kyle Farmer. Again, the infield is in. 1-4 for Farmer, ground ball to shortstop A. That's going to freeze the runner. So 2 down, and it's up to McMahon. Come through in the clutch. Against lefties, he loses a couple of hits, 1-4 and 3-6 in the clutch. That is a 6-9, and that's a strikeout. So talking about coming back and working around that throwing error. Morejon does the job. He goes 1 inning, a walk and a strikeout, nothing else. So we go to the bottom of the 9th. I would love to have Freeland try a complete game here, but I don't think he had any complete games. Now, he had 31 games, but he never had a complete game. In fact, looking at his pitching log, 8 innings was his max against San Diego, but that was in September. But 8 is his max for innings pitched. So we will go to the bullpen, and it won't be Herget anymore. It will be their closer. It'll be their closer, Victor Vodnik. He got the save last night. He's looking for the save again. Victor Vodnik, 4-3, 3.02 ERA and 10 saves. So Victor Vodnik will try to get it done. Freeland goes 8 innings, and he's going to give up 1, 2, 3, only 4 hits, 1 run, which was earned. He walked just the 1, and he hit a batter, and he struck out 3. So Gonzalez, Gurriel, and Iglesias are scheduled hitters, but with the righty coming in, they're going to go to the bench for some lefty hitting. He's a -4 hold, so it makes him a -3. But the Padres will go to their bench. They have 2 lefties they can turn to pretty quickly. Actually, 3 lefties if they want, but Hayward's not that good. But they will go with Tyler Wade and Gavin Sheets. They will hit for Sheets will hit for Gonzalez, and Wade will hit for Iglesias. So first up is going to be Sheets. And if they tie the game, he'll stay in the game to play left field. And second up, hitting for Gurriel, will be Tyler Wade. And they'll find somebody to play first base after the fact. So we'll figure it out. But it's going to be Iglesias after that. So we're looking at Sheets, Wade, and Iglesias. Those are the scheduled hitters for the Padres. Sheets, Wade, and Iglesias, bottom of the 9th. So here we go. Hello, Colin. Good to see you. Here is Gavin Sheets against Victor Vodnik. 2-11, and that's a ground ball right back to Vodnik, 1 away. So I'm trying to bring in the best hitters I can for the Padres. They just don't have a lot. The other 2 guys on the bench, the backup catcher, Martin Maldonado, hits 204, and Hayward hits 176. So don't feel like that's a play to bring those guys in. So go with what we have. Here is Tyler Wade. That's a 4-9 on Vodnik, and that's a ground ball shortstop X. We're looking at Tovar. He is a 2 E16. 2 and a 10 is good. E16, we're checking the E16 at shortstop. And he's got to avoid 14 and 17. Those are the 2 numbers to avoid. And he does just that, 2 down. So now it's all up to Mr. Iglesias with Lockridge on deck. Padres looking to take 2 of 3 and win this series. But it's up to Iglesias to keep it going. 5-8. Ground ball second base X. That's going to be Amador. He's a 4E14. I believe this is his first X check of the game. 4-11. I think he still gets to that. 4-11 he does. It's a G3. He's an E14 at second base, which means he has to avoid 3, 15, 16, and 18. 3, 15, 16, and 18. And he does. That's an 11. That'll do it. Rockies win it by the score of 2-1 over the Padres. They do it on just 2 hits. 2 runs, 2 hits, and 1 error for the Rockies. 1 run, 4 hits, and an error for the Padres. Vodnik picks up his second save in 2 days. He will be unavailable in Game 1 against the Dodgers because you can't pitch a pitcher 3 days in a row, or at least you shouldn't. So they will have to go to Halverson as their closer if they get that chance against the Dodgers. But the Rockies win 2 games out of 3 against the Padres, take the series, and I think without question, the player of the game is Kyle Freeland, although you could make a case, I suppose, for Mickey Moniak the Maniac, who did have 24 home runs in 2025. So Moniak responsible for the 2 runs there, but clearly Freeland kept the Padres off balance, and they get the win. So after 15 games, the Rockies are now 6-9. 6-9. And in real world, they were 3-12. So we're 3 games better than what they were in real world. They did not get their 6th win until they were 6-25. They were 5-25, and then they got a win against San Francisco. So, in fact, they were 4-25 before that. They beat San Francisco. They beat Atlanta in the last game of their series, and San Francisco the first. So they were at 4-25 at one point. But right now, there you go. There you go. 23 of his home runs were hit against. Well, let's see. Let's look at his card. Moniak only faced lefties 12% of the time. They do give him normal power against lefties, though, which is kind of strange. And he does have a ballpark blast there. Let me check his stats real quick and see what his slugging percentage was against righties and lefties. Where are you? There you are. Yep, yeah, sure did. 23 out of 24. All 8 of his triples came against right-handers. Against left-handers, he had 222 with no power. And against right-handers, 276 with lots of power. So against lefties, 1 homer, 6 runs batted in. Against righties, 23 homers and 62 batted in. He had 54 at-bats against lefties, 380 at-bats against righties. Of course, you play basic, you'll never discover that, but that's what it is. So there you go. So the Rockies have some momentum here as they take 2 or 3 from the bewildered Padres who thought they had a cakewalk. And now they will head up north and take on Shohei Ohtani and the Los Angeles Dodgers. In the first of 3, Ohtani does not pitch in the series, but he does DH, I believe, in all 3 games. So he'll be batting. Tap. And somebody's very upset about getting kind of skinned over here with their fur cut, so she doesn't even want to say anything. There you are, Tap. Good. But she doesn't want me to show her fur cut because she's kind of embarrassed about getting a what amounts to almost a crew cut for kitties, because I don't know what the weather is in your area, but here, starting on Wednesday and going through Saturday, the high will be 100 degrees every day with the heat index about 110. In fact, I think the low on Wednesday night is going to be 78. That's the low overnight. So very, very, very hot and humid. So thunderstorms are probably, a threat to pop up pretty much every afternoon. Tomorrow's not supposed to be bad, and I think Tuesday is where the heat starts, and then it really kicks in on Wednesday. So that happens. Usually around July 4th, we get a heat spike, and then it calms down, and then August is when we really roast. But, it happens. You get little heat things, and then next thing you know, turn around, the high is only 80 one day. So it varies. It depends on what's going on. So there you go. Rockies win it. They improved to 6-9. And Mickey Moniak, the 2-run homer in the top of the 8th. And the guy I feel bad for is King. He had a 1-hit shutout going in the bottom of the 8th. But that leadoff walk can get you a lot of times. And it got him. So you don't see many teams win games with a 2-2-1 line score. But that's exactly what happens. So anyway, I know it's late for everybody. It's almost 11 o'clock here on the East Coast. Good thing I'm retired. So I get the luxury of sleeping in a little bit, although I usually get up 6:30, 7 o'clock, something like that, because it gets daylight so early. I guess my body just sees the daylight, and coffee starts brewing I got the coffee set to come on at 6:30, so by the time I get up at 6:45 or so, it's all ready to go. I have 2 cups of coffee in the morning, watch a little YouTube or news or whatever I happen to find on there. And then about 8:45-ish or so, I start thinking, I need to get myself upstairs and get that American League game ready to go. So I will need to do that because I have not filled out the score sheet for that game yet. So I do need to do that in the morning. And then roughly about 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, we'll have the Orioles and the Twins from the Metrodome. And I believe Mike Boddicker pitches for, I think it's Mike Boddicker. I think it's the Battle of Mikes, actually. I'll look it up to verify, but I believe it's Mike Boddicker and Mike Smithson for the July 3rd game, 1987, from the Metrodome. And I'll verify it real quick. Yes, it is. Boddicker against Smithson. Game the Twins won in extra innings, 6-5. Interesting. So that's going to do it from here. Hope you all have a great rest of your night. Get some good rest. For those that have to go to work tomorrow, make sure you get your good rest so that you are in tip-top shape for work tomorrow. For the rest of us slackers, you can join me at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. Yeah, Thomas, you'd make them when you can, I guess. Like I said, I didn't want to do this one this late, but I was trying to give Robert as much chance to finish his inside pitch game as possible. But it just got to run too long. And when it got to 10 o'clock, I was like, I got to play this thing so it doesn't last all night. So anyway, that's going to do it from here. Hope everybody has a wonderful evening. Rockies win it 2-1 to improve to 6-9. So if you can't make the game tomorrow morning, then tomorrow night from Dodger Stadium, it'll be the Rockies and the Dodgers. And that'll be game 1 of a 3-game set that'll finish the road trip. And till next time, enjoy playing whatever game you choose to play, however you choose to play it, and we'll see you down the road.